How's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm be talking why the Chicago Bulls could potentially be the next super team. Now, if you aren't aware of my YouTube channel and you haven't been around for very long, you should know that I make this type of video for every single team in the NBA, talking about why they could potentially be the next super team. It's a series that I do make, and if you do want to check this video out, I do have them on a playlist. But before anybody gets triggered and says Chicago's going to be trash, Chicago's not going to be good next year, just know I make this type of video for teams like the Bulls, the Phoenix Suns, and pretty much every other team in the entire NBA. So don't get triggered and say that I'm wrong or anything like that. I make this video for every single team in the NBA. So please don't get mad. But now that I got it out of the way, without further ado, without worrying on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so my first reason for this video is going to be that they have an extremely good young core going into the future and going into this next season. As they right now, the leader of this young core is LaVine. He's a potential superstar. I'm still not ready to call him a superstar, but he is definitely a borderline superstar right now, and he is definitely going to be the leader of this young core as he is coming off of his second straight back-to-back great season with the Chicago Bulls, and he's shown that he can legitimately lead a team and actually lead them to some wins, lead them to some success, and he's really been one of the only very good bright spots for the Chicago Bulls over the last few seasons. And he is by far the best young guy on the team and by far the best player on the team, and I think that LaVine does have a chance to become one of those superstar-like players. But then they also have some other very good pieces to this young core, and it makes it very balanced. As they look, the two players that they do have is Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. As, I mean, Markkanen has shown that he is probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and in my opinion is a future all-star, and maybe as well could become a superstar, as he is a 7-foot sharpshooter who in his last year averaged 18 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game, and 35% from the three. Anytime that you have a big man that's 7 feet tall and can shoot threes at 35% and score around 20 points per game and get you damn near 10 rebounds per game, well, you're in a very good boat, as that's almost a double-double player on every night that's giving you 20 points per game, grabbing boards, being able to expand the floor as a 7-footer is extremely important, and I think there's just not many players that can do that in this league, and Lauri Markkanen is definitely going to be a special type player, and I think he's very underrated right now. And then as of Wendell Carter Jr., he wasn't this year's rookie pick, but he was a last year's rookie for the Chicago Bulls, and he also had a very solid rookie season where he averaged 10 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and had 1.3 blocks per game. And I think Wendell Carter Jr. could definitely be a very solid piece, and if not, maybe even become an all-star level player, as he does have the athleticism that's needed. He can protect the rim pretty well. His scoring is only going to get better, and if he can get a little bit better on the rebounds, I think he will definitely be a double-double player every night, be one of the more elite rim protectors, and has the potential to become an all-star level player one day, and I'm very high on Wendell Carter Jr. as well. And then obviously their rookie that they just drafted this year, Coby White, he should be a great young piece at that point guard position, really give someone solidified there, as Chris Dunn, he's a bust, let's be honest. He's not as good as he was in college. He's a complete bust, and Coby White is going to be trying to fill those shoes, fill that starting point guard role, which I'm sure he can do, as he in Kentucky, he was a good passer. He could score pretty much in any way, and he got his teammates involved well, and I think he's a very good point guard in this draft, and was a very solid pick for them, as that is the one position really that they do need in the starting lineup right now, as they pretty much have a solid player in all of them but the point guard position. And now with Coby White, if he does pan out, this will probably be their starting 5 going into the future, and I mean, it's very cool to see that they have this well-rounded of a starting 5 this young, and it's just going to be very cool to watch how they mesh together and how they do end up playing together. But now my second reason is going to be that the Eastern Conference is going to be wide open this year, as outside of the main teams in Boston, Brooklyn, 76ers, the Raptors, Milwaukee, and the Denver Nuggets, which is 6 teams, but they still have 2 other spots available out of the 8. So I mean, those 2 spots are going to be completely wide open. Now yes, there are some teams out there that are probably going to be competing for them a lot, very heavily, like the Indiana Pacers, but I do think that potentially they will be competing for one of those 2 spots, and I would not be surprised at all if we do see them sneak in as a 7th or 8th seed this year, especially if Lauri Markkanen can make that jump to go up to a 22 point per game score. Zach LaVine can stay where he was at, or even maybe improve a little bit. Kobe White meshes well, and he actually does develop how he's supposed to. Wendell Carter Jr. develops a little bit more, and Larry Markkinen just becomes a better player as well. Otto Porter can mesh with the team a little bit better as well, and I just think this team has a legitimate, very good argument to become a 7th or 8th seed this year, as their starting lineup is just very, very good, and I think offensively, this starting lineup is going to be so much improved. And speaking of offense, last year, their offense was horrible, and that was one of their biggest problems in their team. Yes, their defense wasn't much better, but it was a lot better than how bad their offense was. As last year, by the NBA.com, their offense was ranked the 2nd worst in offensive efficiency last year, which is not good enough to win you games, or at least not enough to make you into the playoffs. But with the additions of Otto Porter at the end of the year, who only in 15 games with the Bulls, he was able to average 17 points per game and on 48% shooting from the 3. Plus, Kobe White should be a much better offensive player than Chris Dunn was last year at the point guard position, and he should be able to provide a lot more offense than Chris Dunn could. Plus, Larry Markkinen was injured for the first 2 months of last season, and he was going into this year healthy, and barring any injuries that do happen in training camp or anything, Larry Markkinen should be healthy going into the beginning of the season, which should help this offense be much better and get off to a much better start than it did last year. So, and then obviously Zach LaVine's probably going to develop, and hopefully Wendell Carter Jr. can go to 12, 13 points per game, and he would just be able, that offense should just be a much better unit than what it was last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it jumps to top 20 or maybe even top 15 in the league. Now, the defense, on the other hand, Kobe White is a decent defender, Wendell Carter Jr. is a good defender, Larry Markkinen has to get better on defense, I'll give him that. LaVine can play defense when he has to, and then Otto Porter, he's just kind of a 3-and-D type player. He's pretty good on defense. He's just a decent player overall. So, I mean, with all that being said, I think their offense will most likely be better than their defense next year, and they will be heavily relying on their offense, which is not a bad thing when you do have the players that they do have. And now my 4th and final reason for this video is going to be that they have one of the most well-rounded young starting 5s in the entire league, and if you ask me, it's probably going to be one of the more exciting teams to watch. As, I mean, obviously the rookie Kobe White, he was a very good player in North Carolina, and then obviously, you have the athletic Zach LaVine, who's coming off 2 back-to-back great years, superstar-level years. Otto Porter never really had a chance in Washington. Now he's with Chicago Bulls, and he had a very, very good tenure. I mean, little 15-game stretch at the end of the year when he did get traded or signed. I don't know how it happened. He had to have gotten traded in those last 15 games. He had by far the best stretch of basketball in his entire NBA career, where he, like I said earlier, he averaged 17 points per game and could not miss at 48% from the 3-point line, which is actually unheard of, and there's no way he's going to be able to keep that up. But if he can come even halfway through that, he'll be more than effective at that starting small forward position. And then also, like I said, Larry Markkinen, one of the most underrated young guys in the league, probably going to be a 20-point per game scorer next year. And then, like I said, Wendell Carter Jr. should also develop very, very well. So this starting lineup is going to be very exciting to watch, very fun to watch how they develop and everything, and I'm just very excited to watch the Chicago Bulls team. And I'm not even a Chicago Bulls fan, I'm a New Orleans Pelicans fan. So that's coming a lot, saying that I don't even like the Chicago Bulls that much, but I do think they're going to be a very exciting team to watch. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be the first video, so comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Bulls could be the next super team? Do you think that, how many games do you think they're going to win? Do you think they can make the playoffs? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you did like the video, and put a like button and subscribe button, it means the absolute world to me. All glory to God. Hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.